Welcome to Awake TV. So today we gonna talk about soul contract. So this is an exciting subject, and I want you guys to, familiarize yourself what soul contract is all about, because we all have a soul contract, not as earth being, but any kind of living beings, except angels and ascended masters. Anyhow, let's get going. So Sue, do you have
Hello.
any book you read about soul contract you can recommend to our audience?
Sure do. I have a lot, but I'm going to try and make it concise for you. So, when I first started my journey 30 years ago, I
Uh-huh.
cut my teeth on Past Lives, Future Loves, which is by Dick Sutphen, Sutphen.
Mm-hmm.
And he also did You Were Born Again to Be Together.
Uh-huh.
And this is before, long before I ever well, as we talked about in past times, we both were brought up in the Roman Catholic tradition.
Yeah.
And so past lives and that sort of thing were not really accepted in the religion. But I had started waking up, I guess, in my 20s to the
Mm-hmm.
fact that there was more out there than what we were told. So I started reading Dick Sutphen, and when you talk about a soul contract, okay, I like to call them agreements because contract just sounds so businesslike and so absolutely ironclad. Like when you have a contract, if you break a part of it, legally there's a repercussion. With soul contracts or agreements, I believe that they are fluid and they are amenable. In other words, when you get together with another soul before incarnation and create a contract or an agreement, you decide ahead of time certain things that you're going to experience together, certain roles that you're going to play with one another when you meet in this lifetime. And that's fluid. It's not necessarily, like I said, an ironclad contract, like a legal thing. It's more of a guideline, and we have free will. So when we do come here and we forgot all about this contracting and we get here and we start meeting up with each other and whatnot, we will generally experience what we've set out to work on together. However, those contracts and agreements, they're not ironclad. It's not okay, first A is going to happen, then B, then C, then D. Okay. And I also believe that once we start interacting with an individual to learn, okay, say for example, my lesson is to learn compassion, and the person that I have the agreement with is maybe very ill. I'll just use that because I'm going to come back to that later with my dad, okay, as an example. I am learning, also patience and self-care because, I'm working with a person that's very, very ill, a person that maybe also cognitively is not who they used to be. They're losing their ability to, their grip on what we call reality. And so for me, that's helping me build compassion. It's helping me build patience. It's also helping me self-reflect. So there's a lot of things that we can put into to learn for ourselves, for our soul growth, into a soul contract or agreement. So that was the first author, Dick Sutphen, and then I'm going to suggest Brian, I can't speak today, Brian Weiss, medical doctor, psychiatrist. He started out, he did, I read Many Lives, Many Masters, and I have several of his books on hypnosis because I do hypnosis, but not clinical hypnosis, but anyway, Brian Weiss was a psychiatrist who did not believe in reincarnation when he was practicing initially, and then came to, I'll just give you a quick blurb, he came to the understanding after working with some patients that were not progressing in their therapy. He started trying hypnosis with them, and that's when he discovered the world of reincarnation and soul contracts and why individuals have. Okay, and also in past lives, they would have maybe traumas that they brought over into this life, but that's another topic. So, Brian Weiss, Raymond Moody,
Okay,
he
so do
did.
you have any book you can show us actually, or?
Yep, I'll get there. I just got a couple more authors to give you. We got Michael Newton, who did Destiny of Souls, really, really good. Of course, Dolores Cannon. I didn't bring her books up here with me to show you today, but I mean, she has so many. But I would suggest Between Life and Death. That's a really good one. And also Convoluted Universe Book 3. So Dolores was was the one that kind of blew me open on many topics. But once I learned her technique, the QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique, I started getting my own examples through working with clients. And so her works, I highly suggest. And then finally, I'll get to Robert Schwartz. Okay, he's a past life regressionist, and he does between life soul regression. And basically, he helps individuals discover the deeper spiritual meaning of their relationships. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because his book, Your Soul's Gift, he did Your Soul's Gift, Your Soul's Journey, I believe. And I think he did another one. Okay, we got Soul's Gift. Oh, no, sorry. Your Soul's Plan and Courageous Souls. Do we plan our life challenges before birth? So any of his work I would suggest. But for me, I told you I'd come back to working with my dad. I had to take care of my dad
Sorry.
the last 4 years.
Sorry.
So his work, he did a section on caregiving. So that really helped me, but there's everything in there. So those are the authors I would suggest. And of course, Mitch Ablam, he did The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. That's a really short, quick read. It's, I think, really helpful in understanding why we encounter people and the sort of contracts that we have. And also Dick Sutphin, Past Lives, Future Loves. So what about you, Erica? I mean, who did you cut your teeth on?
Yeah, I feel like this is a very good book. This is a book. It's called I Did It to Myself Again. This is a book written by Joan DiMaggio.
Okay, I can't quite see it. The light is shining on it. Maybe if you tilt it a little bit, the top of your phone, tilt it forward.
I don't know, it's hard. Maybe.
I did it. What was the rest of the title?
I Did It Myself Again.
I Did It Myself Again. Oh, yeah, that sounds intriguing.
Book written by Joan DiMaggio. So this is a book very easy for people to relate, because what's happened in between after you die and before you're born, what's happened in between life. So she explains about the people usually meet with counselors, and then they suggest what kind of life lessons they can learn. So that's very beginners knowledge, people can acquire in order to familiarize themselves as what the soul contract is. Because basically, it's a little too far-fetched when people want to know how soul contracts are made in galactic level, but Earth level, it's easier for people to understand it. So this book is what I recommend. Yeah, I couldn't show the book itself because I only read with digital. So the title is I Did It Again. I Did It to Myself Again. And it's written by Joan DiMaggio. So you can get from Amazon and the Kindle, and it's very affordable as well. So that's something I recommend. So let's move to the topic that our understanding of what soul contract is, and we can each talk to each other what this is. So soul contract, I did learn from my guide, because after I was awakening, I wasn't really allowed to get the information from any outside sources. So I
Mm.
was basically talking to archangels. At that time, they are my main guide, Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. So they're talking to me about that. And then eventually Jesus joined. So we are all talking about this. But I wasn't really allowed to listen to any outside sources. I was shy away from channeling any kind of sources. And then gradually they started to introduce me to other people by flashing me those people in my Facebook, not Facebook, a YouTube channel. And then I
Mm-hmm.
knew they are the one who wanted me to show it because they say watch it. So, but until then I was talking to them. So basically, soul contract is the contract, just like how you are saying, a soul, decide what they want to learn in order to expand themselves. And then they have, it's not just Earth, but they have in other planet, they
Mm-hmm.
have a council of elders, and they are there for you to, I guess they are more like a school guidance counselor in a way. Like they kind
Yeah.
of suggest you what they recommend you to learn in order to grow as a soul. So let's say you have a super high, you're high achiever and you wanted to learn this and that, like, and then they will say, oh, like this might be really, really challenging for you. Are you ready to do that? A lot of people who volunteer to come to Earth and they're so opportunistic and they are so confident about themselves and they say, I can do this, this is so easy. Then once you're here, you're like, oh my god, what did I get myself into it?
Yeah.
So kind of like this,
Absolutely.
elders suggest what is something like achievable for you. So you make kind of like a map. It's not like a very precise map, but point A, B, C, and a very rough map. And then after you finish map A, and then you are ready to go to map B, then you are contracted to meet a certain person who
Yeah.
you're gonna do stuff you put point B about. But
Well,
let's say,
I think we ask each other, we say, I need to learn compassion. Would you be willing to come into this life with me in whatever role, like as my father, as my lover, as my sister? Would you be willing to come in this life with me and to teach me this? And then the other soul, out of love, I believe all there is love.
yes,
They agree, most of the time. I mean, I haven't heard too many examples where someone refused to play the role, but then what we provide
well,
when
they
that
are,
happens is something for them as well. So it's a mutually beneficial thing, even if it's not what we would consider a healthy relationship. There's still much to be learned from a relationship that is difficult. would
yes,
you would you
but
speak on that?
yeah, but like let's say if some your partner is, let's say, very like legit, and then you did hundreds of same lessons, right, out of compassion, and then this soul who is having a lot of compassion and forgiveness, and you aren't really, let's say that's you aren't really owe anything to your partner. You are the one who 100% need to forgive whatever your partner is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you did this 100 times, and then as a soul you're extremely exhausted,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
And
that's
you
possible.
have no obligation to say yes to do it again, because then if this person is so legit and not willing to proceed their lesson, they can get the same lesson with other people. Because you
Absolutely.
have to see when you are having awareness of self-love, you can kind of gauge into your soul health, not your physical health, not your emotional health, not the spiritual health, soul health. So yeah, basically you could say we are all divine and we are all like invincible, but your soul will get chipped away and have scars and wound, and that's why people do repeat karmic cycles and stuff like that, or repetitious patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because
Yep.
energetically the stuff is stored in the soul. So
Yep.
when this lesson or contract is not fulfilled, and then you have to keep on doing it over and over and over and over, and this isn't really a karmic lesson between the partner, for example, of twin flame, and then one person is constantly playing the role of forgiveness and the other person is not getting it, you are not obligated to stick into the relationship in next lifetime.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that's what I was talking about earlier. When I mentioned that these contracts are fluid, they're not binding and legal. And, um, just because we say, okay, Erica, we're going to come together in this life and um, we're going to practice friendship of the divine feminine. Okay. Because I think that's what we are. And, we go along and we go along and everything's great and we're learning from each other. And then we get to a point where either we've completed our agreement and we've learned everything that we came to learn and teach each other, and then it just naturally dissipates the relationship. It's not that we don't love each other anymore. It's not that we don't um, you know value one another, and that love that we share will be eternal. It's just time. It's the contract is over. Or
Yeah,
if one of us continues to grow and grow and grow and the other remains stagnant, that may also be the time to say, okay, we contracted to do this, we did our best, we learned everything that we could from one another, and now it's time to naturally part. And there doesn't have to be an anger or explosion or um, resentment and that sort of thing that goes along with it. There can be a very peaceful parting of ways. But these contracts, some of them are meant, I believe, just to be for just a little part in your life.
yeah, that's a often we call it karmic contract. So
Yeah,
it's not a lifetime contract, and a lot of marriage, I want you guys to know, are a karmic contract. That's why marriage is hard. It's not like a harmony, and it's not something you're gonna build a common goal and live life as the best and grow each other and having like heavenly time like you and your husband. Not everybody's marriage is like that, because a lot of people are bound to each other in the form of marriage because in order to resolve their karmic contract. So what church teaches you have to stay in this marriage no matter what is a little off,
yeah,
because
I
once
would
the
agree.
contract is over, it's very important to move on because you have another person you are supposed to meet with to go on another lesson, or you graduated or whatever the harder lesson, so you may meet your soulmate.
Absolutely. And if you're hanging on to a relationship that is no longer serving you or anyone, a stalemate has been reached. It is ultimately in your best interest to bring your energy back to self, regardless of what other social norms are telling you otherwise. Bring your energy back to yourself, move away from that situation, and go back into your own power and creationship. And as Erica said, would bring you a better, healthier relationship in the end. And I don't know the timing of it. It's not like the minute you walk out one door, you're going to open the next.
Yeah.
However, when you make efforts to change your energy and bring it back into you instead of continuing to pour it out into someone else, um, that's when I think the magic can happen. That's when the one who is meant to be with you in your life can happen. They can come in
And I like
because you're
to
not.
know, I like to add about how spiritual team and your higher self intervene. Let's say if one person want to stick to this karmic contract for whatever the reason, for kids or for money or for fear,
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be a lot of divine interventions, and that's something you guys want to keep in your mind, not to yourself. If your marriage or your relationship, like once you feel like you graduated, and then a lot of turmoil and um, in tarot card we call it tower moment is happening, that everything is breaking down outside, that is divine intervention, your spiritual team intervention, your higher self intervention to shake you
Yep.
up, to get yourself out of this relationship. Because if you don't grow as a soul, and
Mm-hmm.
in the soul level, you will regret when you die, because you didn't really grow. You kind of self-sabotaging yourself for your 30 years or 20 years just being the same person.
Yeah, it is a real blessing and opportunity for us to be able to incarnate on Earth, especially at this time with the ascension happening. And um, I think what we do is if we stagnate, like you said, and we don't listen to the signs and the guidance that is being shown to us, which is saying you need to do something else. Once we die and we go back into spirit world, I think we sit there and go, shoot, I wasted that opportunity. And it isn't that there's any right or wrong. I just want to say that's what I believe firmly. There is no getting it wrong in this life or any other life. It's all experience. However, as a soul trying to improve and learn and grow, you might afterwards go, gee, I spent 30 years doing that. And I just didn't meet the goals that I wanted to meet in this lifetime. And so it might be just a little bit of a, oh, darn, I wished I had done it differently. Whereas if you're paying attention to the signs and
Yes.
you're understanding that I'm not flowing with the river, I'm hitting rocks, I'm hitting boulders, and I'm getting stuck. And you know, I really need to be flowing down the river. And what I'm doing is I'm being held up, and I'm allowing that to happen. And personal responsibility is key here, I believe. What are
Yeah,
your
so
thoughts on that?
we're gonna talk about this next episode, so you guys will, understand about that more, in the relation to soul contract. But yeah, it's absolutely right, because your spiritual team and your higher self, people call it divine intervention, do know about your soul contract, and then
Yes.
you kind of tell them, please make sure this is going to be fulfilled, because
Mm-hmm.
that's your soul wishes.
Mm-hmm.
But once we come here, we are programmed, and we are basically programmed. So we people think it's a free will, but once you're programmed and then programmed into having certain belief and thinking, we don't really have a free will. So that's why
Yeah, we
Sue and
forget
I
about it,
are
don't we?
offering,
Yeah.
past life regressions for people to free themselves from all the programmings.
Yep.
That's
And
one way to free yourself.
I think we're gonna talk in a week or two about reading the signs. So that's exciting. I'm really excited to expound on that topic. And yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're gonna delve into that topic next week, and then I hope you guys are gonna tune in with us and educate yourself into how you can do about your life.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you so
Excellent.
much for
Thank you.
watching. Thank you, Sue.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so